50 cars at the ready for NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Their race will be tonight here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. The skies are threatening, 77 degrees, and there was heavy rain earlier in the day, mostly around and not necessarily on the speedway. Some of that has moved away, but there are some big green splotches on the radar. Not all that far, so hopefully we can get this session in, and the Fast 43 will get a chance to race tonight in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Hermie Sadler, Jeff Hammond. Time to go. You got 2 laps. You got 1 shot. First lap, second lap. What's going to be the money lap?
I think it's got to be the first lap for the guys that are going to be in contention for the pole, Mike. But remember, these cars were last on the racetrack Thursday, but they call a little bit of a break, Jeff. It's not hot, slick, and greasy like it could have been. So these guys' grip will not be an issue as much as it would have had the sun been out all day.
Well, the one thing you got to think about right now is the guys have already been on the racetrack as far as the double duty guys. I think they've got a little bit of an advantage, everybody, Mike, right now. They kind of understand what the track's all about. They know whether to challenge this corner, how hard to go after it. So you might see a kind of surprise later on as far as qualifying is concerned. Remember Dale Earnhardt Jr., going out late as far as that. He's got to try to qualify, even though I know he's got that championship provisional stuck way back in his pocket if he needs it. But the key thing is right now, the crew chiefs, I think, are going to have a pretty good idea when the driver gets done exactly what they've got as far as the race tonight is concerned. When they open the front grills up, they'll feel pretty confident about that. Racetrack's an ideal condition to run a good fast lap and be confident that the car is going to stay under you.
And remember, some of these guys, Mike, excuse me, they didn't do a qualifying run in practice. So some of these guys are doing a tape-up job with sticker tires for the first time.
15 double-duty drivers and 1 driver about to go who has not been in his car since it went into the wall early in practice yesterday.
Let me guess, would he be the winner from Talladega in the Sprint Cup Series race?
Yes, he would.
Mr. Keselowski?
That's right. Tony Raines first up. Tony started on the outside pole here in 2003. He has 8 Sprint Cup starts here, and will drive a car with this same number in the Coke 600 tomorrow night. Started 18th at Darlington earlier this season. Time trial 23rd at Talladega. First lap 30.62. Second lap for the Long John Silver's Chevy is right equal to the first, 30.68. So no drop off for Raines and his 2 laps.
About 3/10 quicker than your practice, Mike. And one thing too about this overcast, it'll make it a little bit more even for the entire field, Jeff. I feel like you know, from the guys going out early to the guys going out late, because as we saw, the Sprint Cup cars just came off the racetrack, so it should be a pretty equal qualifying session as far as track conditions.
Let's join Dick Berggren.
And the other guy who won at Talladega was David Reagan, led just the last little bit of the very last lap. But this is your first run in this series since that race. What are you expecting for the weekend?
Another win. How about that? Our discount tire Ford Fusion is pretty fast. I was happy with it Thursday in practice, and Mike Kelly and Seth made a few small adjustments, and hoping that that it will be even better for tonight's race. So hopefully we can get a good qualifying effort in here, you know, top 5 or 10, and we'll go put on a show for them tonight.
David Reagan, now a winner in the Nationwide Series.
Thanks, Dick. Jeff Burton won the pole here in the fall of 2001. He has 3 victories here and is about to become the 13th driver since this became the Busch Series in what, 1982, to make 300 career starts.
That's pretty dang impressive. I mean, I don't care who you are. 300 starts, that's a long time. Hermie, you ran in that series for quite a while. How many starts did you wind up with?
I was into 2 somethings. I didn't quite make 300, but that's an awful lot. It says a lot about longevity in the sport and being able to change with the time and keep up with these race cars.
Well, I think it also says something else about Jeff Burton, who currently is now on the pole at a 29.84, is how much he loves the race. I mean, he doesn't have to run this series. He chooses to. I think he really enjoys coming over and mixing up with the young drivers that are coming up. Kind of keeps his you know, I think him maybe feeling young because he's able to come back down here and do that. But it's great to see him running this 300th race here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Now, among his teammates, isn't this the payoff race for the little competition to see whose name goes above the door for the rest of the season?
I think it is, Mike. And again, you got to believe that he's going to be up on the wheel tonight trying to make sure he's the one who's able to leave his name on the door for the remaining part of the year. Currently, he is the fastest guy. And Hermie, I think you talked about it in our very beginning opening statement. first lap going to be the money lap, it looks like so far.
Yeah, I think the guys that are in contention to win the pole have to get it done on the first lap when your air pressures are right, sticker tires. And he picked up about a half a second, Mike, from where he practiced. So we're seeing a lot of that track, a lot of grip right now.
So Jeff Burton's Holiday Inn Chevrolet on the pole right now. Here's the Verizon Wireless Dodge for rookie Justin Allgaier, who made his first career start here last year. His only top 10 start came at Nashville, where he qualified 9th, and he leads the Rookie of the Year standings by 7 points.
And coming up to speed, Hermie, that car looked really good through 3 and 4, and he hadn't been in this car since Thursday, but he could have fooled me the way he just went after this racetrack. I guess he believes right now. Jeff Burton said, hey, it's got grip in it. Go out there and just hustle around here and see what you can do. And right now, he's got a pretty good lap going.
That's something we don't talk about enough, is that going through turns 3 and 4 to come get the green flag with this car, with this engine package, very important. There we go, he's loose.
He threw her down in there. She just didn't stick for him.
Nice catch.
Yeah, nice catch.
That'll drop him to 3rd on the first lap.
And unfortunately, Mike, that's probably going to really hurt his second lap as well. He lost a lot of that momentum coming off turn 4. Couldn't have happened in a worse spot, Jeff.
Oh, it couldn't have, but at the same time, we were talking about he's fearless. That's one thing about being young. If somebody says it'll stick, just drive her down in there. He definitely did. He drove it down till he saw Elvis, and unfortunately, it scared him.
Now he's picked it back up.
He tippy-toed through there right there that time.
I'm loose again.
Yep.
Got a little back and then gave it back. Second lap will be a little slower.
But the key thing, Mike, he saved that race car. These guys ain't going to the backup. Big time save right there on that first lap.
Let's have another look at that.
We got a race car that'll turn like.
Yes, we do. This was on lap 1.
I mean, he gets down in the middle of that corner and it steps out on him, and he does a good job of catching it.
Next up is the driver who had this happen in practice, first against the safer barrier and then the concrete. And wadded that one up with the backup car. Brad Keselowski pounded the wall again at the other end of the speedway.
Yeah, and that time he missed the safer barrier altogether. Now, a lot of heavy damage right there. And Dick, I know you've been checking up on this guy since he started this deal on Thursday. What's happening?
Well, I can tell you that both of those accidents were the result of a failed right front tire. In both cases, the right front tire had been cut by a mechanical piece on the right front corner of the race car. The second car that he wadded up was the car that he won Nashville in, but it was also the last car that they had ready to race. So the crew went back to the shop and they finished preparing the car that had been partially prepared for Bristol. That's the car Keselowski is in right now. That's the car that won Bristol. I'm sorry, they were preparing it for Dover next week. It is the car that won Bristol with Keselowski driving it. Fortunately, it was all painted up, let it up. All they had to do was finish it up.
Thanks, Dick. Unfortunately, it's not as quick as the first piece, or perhaps even the second piece he brought here. 31.29 trails the field by a good bit.
Mike, that was just a shakedown lap. You got to understand something. This gentleman right here has been out 2 different race cars on the first lap and basically knocked the wall down with both of them. It's about time you tippy-toe around this racetrack one time to make sure that you're able to start tonight, because they cannot afford to go back to the shop and try to grab another car. That just doesn't happen to be there.
And since they are in the show, they basically they were qualifying for pit position.
Pit position, yeah.
So,
and I think trying to find out, because we talked about cars bottoming out, doing all kinds of crazy things. Even though they may wind up at the back, if they have to make some adjustments, I think they're going to take that basically on the chin and make those kind of adjustments and get the car right for the night.
That's a good point. I think they're pretty much counting on the fact that early on tonight's race, when you get some caution, they're going to be down on pit road, changing this car, getting that thing dialed in. So should be a long night for Brad, but just make the best of it. Krista?
Well, Mike, Hermie, Jeff, you guys have been talking about Jeff Burton and his 300th nationwide start. That probably seems unbelievable. You're Mr. 300. Is this car going to take you to victory lane in that start?
We haven't shown the speed to be able to do it yet, but you never say never. We will work hard and try to make some changes and make it better. We've gotten behind on our nationwide program, and Holiday Inn guys, Holiday Inn Express guys have really stuck with us, and we're going to get it. We're going to get it back, and but I'm not sure that we're there yet, but we're going to get it where we need to be.
All right, thanks, Jeff. And a new crew chief, Doug Randolph, working with this team this week. Mike.
That's right. Thanks, Krista. David Reagan, the Talladega winner, looks like he's going to take the pole away from Burton, and does, with a 29.63.
Tell you right now, I had a chance to spend some time with David Reagan this week, and he is still riding. I mean, the wave of emotion when it comes to driving this number 6 car for Discount Tire. I mean, he is just so excited he was able to get those folks a win, do it for Jack Roush and all the folks at Roush Fenway, because they, put some faith in him, and he knew it was time. It just came at a very unexpected place and on a very unusual set of circumstances. But hey, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. And right there, it looks to me like he has ran a little bit quicker on the second lap.
A little over spring, touched the valence a little bit, but kind of a rough ride.
Kind of a fast ride. He is fastest so far.
He better get ready for 300 miles of that rough ride.
Dick Bergman.
Well, Kevin Harvick is running in both divisions this weekend. He's going to try to win both races, but in the Nationwide Series, in addition to winning, he has another agenda. What's going on?
Well, we've got the VFW on board this week, and we've got our Buddy Poppy flowers on the side of the car that a lot of the guys make. So just important to support our armed services, and the VFW does a great job of supporting our troops, and we wish everybody could do the same for them.
And those poppies have been around since you were a kid. You see somebody selling one of them, buy them, give them as much as you can for it, and put it on your lapel.
Thanks, Dick.
Great calls right there.
Yeah.
Again, just don't want to get everybody gets wrapped up in the fact they got a weekend off. Let's remember, Memorial Day weekend is to remember those who have already sacrificed the greatest sacrifice of all, keep this country free, and those that are currently serving around the country, around the world. It's a great weekend to remember our troops. It really is.
Kenny Wallace in the U.S. Border Patrol Chevy, third fastest at a 30.34.
That's about 2.5 tenths faster than he ran in the final practice last night, and not a bad run for Kenny. That's what has really been holding his team back a little bit, Jeff. They seem to race pretty good, but their qualifying sometimes puts them in the back. But Kenny Wallace, he can get the job done here at Lowe's.
Yes, he can, and not be throwing rocks at that group he's running with. But Kenny will tell you they're down a little bit on horsepower, and that's usually where it shows up the most during qualifying, because Kenny can drive the race car. When you get into the race situation and trying to get the car where you can kind of hustle through the corners and make the most of it, Kenny does a good job and puts together good finishes. But currently, good effort right now by Kenny Wallace, or how does John Roberts say, Kenny Wallace?
This is the 20th anniversary of Kenny's first start in what was then the Busch Series here. Krista?
Mike, everyone wants to know, what have the last 48 hours been like for Brad Keselowski and this race team? Working, thrashing at the shop, and now you're here. I know you're not necessarily happy with that, but I did hear you say playing it conservative. I would have done the same thing.
Well, we just didn't have anything to gain and everything to lose. We need to desperately come out of this race with the car in one piece, and I'll do all I can to help these guys out for that reason. It's been a rough go, like you said, but they all worked real hard, came in Friday night and turned this car around. This is my Dover car, so if it gets tore up, we're in a lot of trouble. So we just need to survive this weekend and move on and get back together and regroup for a long summer, because there's 17 weeks to go here, and we can't afford to lose another car. So hopefully we'll have a strong showing with this GoDaddy.com Chevrolet, and not really worried about the qualifying.
Thanks, Brad.
Here's Scott Legacy Jr., the incredible pizza, number 11. Toyota, fourth at a 30.52. He is fourth in the rookie points, but only 8 points back. He has 2 series starts here, and his dad was one of America's very top road racers. So here's Scott, fourth on the board.
Mike, one of the things I found out was kind of unusual about talking to Scott in reference to his father, and he goes ahead and he hangs in there at third quickest, picks up just a little bit on that second lap. So pretty interesting little deal right there for him. But when we come back from a break, we'll talk a little bit more about what he told me about his road racing.
Speed presentation of NASCAR Nationwide qualifying from Charlotte, brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, the official auto insurance provider of NASCAR. By new Kentucky Grilled Chicken, taste the unfried side of KFC. And by Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian, now playing in theaters. Kevin Hamlin puts his D.H. Griffin Dodge third fastest with a 30.23. Nice run.
Nice run. He's exactly right with Go Canes on the side of that right there, pulling for the Carolina Hurricanes.
He was real solid in practice too. Both his runs,
yes, he was.
right there, right inside the top 25. So good call this weekend for Kevin Hamlin.
Here's another guy that's been really solid all week long. Brian Vickers in the 32 car. Dollar General, Braun Racing.
This will be his 6th start of the season. He started second at Talladega, finished third at Las Vegas.
One and done right there, Mike. Second quickest.
29.66, just 4/100ths off the pole for Brian Vickers. Coming up, Robert Richardson, Brandon Witt, and Kevin Harvick. Robert Richardson Jr. has the Mahindra Tractors Chevrolet in the field, 8th quickest with a 30.63. And Brandon Witt comes on track. He has 2 Truck Series starts here. And his best start this season, 20th in California.
He ran a 30.77 in practice. Final practice on Thursday. We'll see if he's able to pick up as much as Robert Richardson. He picked up about a half a second. So track still seems like it's got a pretty good amount of grip.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that after seeing David Reagan and a couple of guys run a little quicker, I was kind of surprised that Vickers didn't run a little quicker than, or he didn't try to go for the second lap. But
a little bottoming out there.
A lot of sparks right there. That's not a good thing for Brandon Witt, who currently is 7th quickest after his first lap. I didn't see that on the first lap. I was surprised. Maybe he was hustling a little bit more, but definitely upset the car, and I think it's going to slow him down here on that second lap.
That bottoming out upsets the driver too. When you fall down in these corners and land, and your car starts hitting the racetrack, it can be upsetting to the driver.
Really bad. I'm sorry.
Well, when they go back, I hope they go back and look at the tape. They'll see why.
Yes, sir. Imagine how that's going to look later on tonight. It'll look like the 4th of July when they drop the green flag. So Doug Taylor and that group might want to do a little work on that 61 car.
Krista.
Let's talk to our current pole sitter, David Reagan. And folks, I may have the secret to why David had such a good run. Georgia native, did I see a man deliver a basket of peaches to you before you went out on your run?
Yeah, the only problem, I was getting ready to go make a lap in our discount tire Ford here. So I told him, I said, take him to the trailer and I'll get him a little later on, just put my name on him. So that just shows you how nice everyone is from Georgia. But our discount tire Ford's pretty fast. It feels good to be back in this thing. Eric Darnell did a great job the last couple of weeks. So this is always a fun race. A lot of people in town for the holiday weekend and the Coke 600 tomorrow. So this is a big race for us tonight.
All right, thanks, David. And Mike, like you said, last time he was in this car, he won.
That's right. Here's
peaches, making me think about homemade peach ice cream.
Wow, that's good, isn't it? I'm telling you.
I was thinking of a little homemade peach bounce from up on the mountain, to tell you the truth.
You must have saw Junior Johnson,
which goes good over ice cream.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin Harvick up next. 5 top 10 starts in 6 races. He has 3 poles here, and that first lap is good for 3rd, 29.80.
Yeah, and I think he's going to say one and done. It's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Coming up, Michael McDowell, Brendan Gaughan, and Front Row Joe. Boy, Michael McDowell in the Tom Snacks Toyota had a great lap, 29.78. He is now the 3rd place driver.
About a half a second faster than what he practiced at, and that was a great lap right there for him.
He's been solid all weekend, top 15 in both practices on Thursday, so good start to the weekend for those guys.
Yes, sir.
Just think, before he got this sponsor, Brendan Gaughan was only Mr. 4-hour energy.
That's
all
it.
By himself. Now he's 5-hour energy with his Chevrolet. This is his first time here in a nationwide car. He has 2 Cup and 5 Truck Series starts here. And has a pole at Bristol. He is 2nd in the rookie chase.
And Brendan hope he can kind of pick it up here a little bit. They've been struggling a little bit in practice. Let's see what he can do during qualifying.
Dick Berggren.
Well, last year, Kyle Busch won both of the nationwide races here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, led the most laps in both of those races, and he won the very first practice here on Thursday. So, going to win a pole today?
I don't know, man. We just we're not really worried about the pole. We just need a solid lap here, get a good pit selection, because we got to go to the back anyway. So, we had an engine change, but I feel like the guys have done a great job, worked awfully hard, and we got a decent piece here. I'm not sure how good it is, but changed the tire, so it's a little different for us this time.
Okay, wish you well. Good luck.
Thanks, Dick. Brendan Gaughan's 2 laps are exactly 2/100ths of a second apart. He is 6th right now.
You got to be pretty content with that here, because 8 teams with about the best they'd been in practice. That was the second practice, so they picked up a little bit of speed.
Here's our AMP track description of Lowe's Motor Speedway. 1.5 miles. America's first quad oval, where the front straightaway has 2 dog legs in it, which was done so more fans in the front stretch stands would have a good view of the proceedings than if the straightaway was straight.
I like that.
Yeah. So 24-degree banking in the corners, and that's why the front stretch is longer than the back.
And right now, all weekend with these nationwide cars, we started to see it in practice Thursday. These guys are using multiple lanes on this racetrack, and we'll see a lot of guys 2 and 3, and even right up against the wall up in the top groove tonight, Jeff.
Yes, you definitely will. And you've seen that front straightaway. Look how much longer it is in the back straightaway. You can carry a lot of speed down into turn 1, and we're now taking a look at it. Joe Nemechek. And Mike, I think he's got him some new signage on that 87 car for tonight.
Yep, it's nice to see that car without a blank quarter panel. The LubePros.com Chevrolet. That is a quick lube company with 30 locations, more than 30 locations. In the central Midwest, Illinois, Tennessee, Minnesota, and Wisconsin.
Yeah, in recent weeks, Huckleberry's barbecue has been on that car, and it's still on, I think, on the deck lid of it. But it's always great to see guys who have been committed to running all the races, getting some help. And see Lube Pro right now on there I mean, it's great.
1990 was Joe's first race here. He started next to last. It was an inauspicious debut. But he has 11 top 10 starts here. Won't add to that total. He is 11th right now with a 30.55. Krista?
Mike, Brian Vickers sat on the pole in this race last year, and I thought maybe had it again, but I heard you say my heart stopped beating. What happened out there?
Oh, no, that was Trent. That said his heart finally slowed down. Well, we, one time, see, one of the races last year, we stuck one in the fence in qualifying, and I stuck one in the fence, and I was a little timid out there. We had a really good car. The Dollar General Toyota was great in race trim. It was actually really good in qualifying trim. Trent made some great air pressure adjustments before today. I probably left a little bit out there. I used a little bit more brake than I needed to. Otherwise, I think we'd be on the pole.
All right, and that's why they just did that 1 lap, Mike.
Thanks, Krista. Now here is Mike Bliss, whose only win in the Nationwide Series came here, driving for Joe Gibbs in October of 2004. He started on the 2nd row here in 2003. His best start here.
We saw him in practice Thursday with a tire rub on the left rear fender. They took some time, missed a little bit of practice time correcting that, but looks like they got that corrected. And Mike is a former winner at this racetrack too.
Yep, you see it's still bottomed out a little bit. I saw some sparks out beneath that one car, and I don't think he's going to quite like that, but unless they're willing to kind of like give up what's going to be a pretty decent start spot, 6th quickest right now after that first lap. But if he's not willing to give that up, he's going to be bottomed out a little bit.
He was picking up right to the entrance of turn 3, Jeff.
Turn 3 and 4 giving these guys, plenty loose, Mike. I agree with you.
2nd lap, same as the first.
You can see him chasing that car, Mike, letting it slide up the racetrack and catching it a little bit at a time. So good job by Mike Bliss.
Tomorrow, NASCAR Race Day takes center stage. You'll find out how NASCAR's biggest names prepare for the longest event of the season. Don't miss Wendy Venturini's Real Deal with a rejuvenated Mark Martin NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. Live tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Now that is Donnie Leah, the former champion of the Whelen Modified Series. He's had a busy weekend. He finished 15th Friday night at Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut. In the Whelen Modified race, Jimmy Blewett led every lap up there, broke Ted Christopher's streak of wins at Stafford in the Tour Modifieds. But Leah went around, did not take the green flag, and came down pit road.
But he is guaranteed a start tonight, so if they can correct this problem, he's going to be okay as far as running the race tonight. But if they can fix the problem or find out what the problem is.
Okay.
Anytime a car's not running, I don't like that.
No. Dick Berggren?
With Joey Logano, 18 years old, and I don't think I can say that anymore, 18 years old, because tomorrow is Joey's birthday. He turns 19. Got a good hot rod here. This is the same car he won Nashville in. How does that transfer? Does a car that runs well at Nashville also run here at Lowe's?
Initially in the first practice I said it did, and then when we tuned ourselves out or something happened, the game stopped out, and we weren't as good as we were. So they changed everything on it, so I don't know what I'm going to have, but we'll just go out there, go as fast as we can. I know Dave Rogers in the game was working hard, even after our off day yesterday, so we'll see what we got. We're not sure, but we're going to have fun.
Let the celebration begin for tomorrow. Chris Devoda.
Thanks, Dick. Currently sitting in the 3rd position, Michael McDowell. And you guys cannot kind of rest back on your heels at all. You guys have a tough rookie battle going on in this series.
Oh, it's a great rookie battle. You know, a lot of great drivers. So whoever wins the Rookie of the Year this year, it's really going to mean something. They'll probably be somewhere in the top 5 in points. And I imagine one of us is going to win a race here soon. Hopefully it's us. Tom Snack, Toyota Camry, was really good in qualifying. It's hard when you sit for a day. You got a lot of time to think about that lap. So a lot of nerves, and glad to get it out of the way and get into the race tonight.
That's right. Tom Snack's on the car this week. New sponsor, ConstructionJobs.com. Next week in Dover, Mike.
All right, there's the coach, Joe Gibbs.
Yeah. Go in there, maybe check on Joey Logano. Hey, we'll be talking about them race cars like that. But, you know, I think it's real easy as we're watching the 10-car Bernie Lamar come up to speed. Oh, hang on to it, Bernie. Hang on to it, Bernie. Oh, that's a hard impact right there, guys.
Well, he did. If you're going to hit it, he did get the safer barrier.
He did do that, but
before it started to narrow toward the exit of the corner. But wow,
I'll be interested to see whether or not he just lost it, or if maybe there was still a little bit of fluid left on the racetrack that got overlooked by the safety crew. But he got down that corner and around she went, Hermie.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this a couple of times. He's down real close to the white line, but he's well above, the apron when that happens, and it comes around in a big hurry, Jeff.
Big time. I mean, and again, that's backup written all over it. And unfortunately for Bernie Lamar.
The tires look up. I would have thought the way that car snapped around, Jeff, that he might have cut down a tire, but they looked like they were up as he drove away.
No, car just stepped out on him. It really did. And like what Hermie said, I mean, when it comes around that quick, I mean, we got it in slow motion right there so you can get a good look at it. I mean, it was just like snap of the fingers around it came, but you can clearly see all 4 tires are up on the 10 car.
And keep in mind, race time is just 3 hours away.
I mean, again, that's a tough deal for that team right there. You can see the overflow, the vent line right there for the fuel cell dragging on the ground as he goes into Nationwide garage.
That car really came off the ground big time when he hit that safer barrier. It lifted that thing 2 or 3 feet off the air in the back end of that car. So heavy impact for Bernie Lamar.
But it goes back to what we talked about earlier. He was trying to get
up to speed,
get a speed lap through 3 and 4, and tires didn't have the grip in it.
So the track's under a red flag condition again as Bernie Lamar's team rolls out the backup car for his 7th start of 2009. This is Greg Biffle. In the City Financial Ford, he has 9 top 4 starts in 15 races here, including the last 3. He was the pole sitter for the nationwide race here, October 07.
He's using the half side of the race.
That's an unusual line for qualifying, Greg, but he's making the most of it right now, guys.
Look, he loses a little bit right in the center, looking up top, but watch this shot coming off of turn 4. Gets a lot of momentum off the corner and really getting maximum speed out of that car. There he goes.
3rd on the first lap, and he goes to the pole with a 59.
Nice job. Another stop on you. Nice job.
Well,
in practice, we watched him do it, thinking, okay, well, that's where he's planning on racing. But comes there at a qualifying lap, and son of a gun, if he didn't go to the top of the racetrack and make it work.
And what Eddie Pardue told him, I know that was tough on you. It's tough as a driver to watch the car right in front of you crash because you're not completely sure if the track is clean and if there's no debris on the track or whatever. But Biffle put that right out of his mind and went right to the top of the chart.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Greg Biffle has done an outstanding job in the 16 car this year. He's got a couple of wins. And the thing is, they've had 2 different drivers in this car. They got a total of 3 wins in this 16 car between Matt Kenseth and Greg Biffle. So Eddie Pardue, that team down there, they're really making it happen for the Roush Fenway group.
Next up is Kyle Busch. Is it NOS or is it NAS? Energy drink. He says NAS, so I guess that's what it is.
He nailed turns 1 and 2, Jeff, right around the bottom, never got off the throttle.
Yeah, now that's a striking contrast from what Greg Biffle just did Now you see Kyle Busch on the bottom of the racetrack making it work through 3 and 4 about the middle of the group. But look at the lap coming back to the start-finish line.
51 for Kyle Busch. He goes to the pole.
You can see the difference in the lap track of those laps. Kyle Busch right through the middle of the corner, picks up a lot of speed, but doesn't have quite the momentum that Biffle had off the corner, but fast enough to knock him off the pole.
He's going to play too also. I'm kind of surprised at that. I'd been a crew chief. I'd have said that was good enough.
Greg Biffle didn't even get his...
Now he said, that's not working.
Biffle didn't even get his helmet off and got knocked off the pole.
He went from good job to second place so quick, it was not even funny.
Dick?
Well, Jason Keller with 29 starts here at Lowe's Motor Speedway has learned a thing or two about this place. What is the most important lesson you have learned?
This place doesn't get any easier. I don't care how many starts you have here. It's just a extremely tough place. And one of the things that I actually learned Thursday was the groove widened out really, really fast. And I think I learned that a little bit by watching last week in the All-Star race. And just excited to have the Sky Products brand car here, and got Walmart on board. So got a lot of great things going on, and it's exciting. You know, we haven't been in the car for a long time. We weren't on track yesterday, so a little bit nervous.
Sun's coming out. It's getting warmer. That's going to affect qualifying speeds as we go on.
Steve Wallace is next in the number 66 Chevy. Best start of 6th at Las Vegas and Nashville. Best finish of 7th at Bristol this season.
He had some speed in that final practice yesterday. He was up there in that top 10 quite well. They kind of figured his place out.
It'll be a kind of mid-pack qualifying lap, though, for Wallace.
Right
Smack in the middle.
Right in behind his teammate right there, Brendan Gaughan, and 10th quickest.
He's a 30.08, Gaughan a 29.99.
See that car wiggle right in the middle of turn 2 right there, Hermes. He's trying to exit.
Yeah, these cars really have an aggressive shock package on them to try to hold that nose down. If you got the wheel turned too much or run across a little bit of a bump on the racetrack, it can really upset you.
Did the same thing right there coming up off of turn 3 as he entered 4. Wiggled again for him. So he said, this, I'm going to have to take it back to the garage area.
Tickets available for the LifeLock 400 at Michigan, starting at $40. Kids 12 and under are free. There's the phone number and the website. Carl Edwards in the Scotts Miracle-Gro Ford. Now, Carl has top 10 starts in every race this year, including 3 poles. He has 1 pole here.
He's got impressive starting record. This average is a little under 5, I should say, as far as the season's concerned. Always fast whenever they get ready to drop the green flag come qualifying, and he's not going to disappoint us right now, Mike. He's making a run down the back straightaway.
He used the middle of the racetrack in 3 and 4 to get up to speed to get the green flag, but since then he's been working the bottom of the racetrack, similar to what Kyle Busch did.
Don't think it's going to be quite. Yeah, it's coming back.
All kinds of different ways to run this racetrack. Woo. And Carl.
He won. I had a 29.
48.
Good job. Shut her down. Good job.
And he is the first driver to break 29.5 seconds.
But I did notice one thing on that last time he entered turn 1, a little bit of sparks coming out underneath that car. So it's bottomed out just a little bit, but maybe when they unblock the nose and you get back into more of a race mode, maybe you will not hit quite as hard.
Krista?
Well, Mike, Greg Biffle had been back here for about 8 seconds when Kyle Busch knocked him off. I think you'd been out of the car maybe 10 seconds. Carl knocked you off, but still a good run.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter where we qualify. We got to go to the back. So, no, Synergy Drink Toyota there wasn't bad. And, you know, glad to get a solid run in like that. And hopefully we'll have a good race car for tonight.
Kyle Busch coming from the back. And that should be a show, Mike.
You bet.
It always is. I mean, he is definitely a showman, and he is going to be up on the wheel trying to get that number 18 up to the front.
Jason Leffler, 7 top 10s in his last 8 races. Top 10 finishes, that is, including all of his last 5. And he's finished on the lead lap the last 9 races, the longest current streak in the series. Third in the points for the Great Clips Toyota.
He was pretty good in practice on Thursday, top 15 both practices. Look, he got a little bit loose right there.
I'm going to say, Mike, for me, it was loose getting in the corner. It was loose in the center of the corner. And I think the time is kind of reflecting that. He's going to be about 15th quickest on this first lap, and I don't think it's going to get a whole lot better.
That car didn't look happy at all.
No.
And there goes the tracker to the right.
But you can see it in Dick Berger mentioned the sun starting to come out. That will play an effect on these later guys coming on later on in this qualifying session. This track will lose some grip.
Right now, Jason's just being smart. He's going to take with the car.
Did the motor sound flat as he came by, Jeff? Or that's just the characteristic of the Toyota engine. Sounds like
it didn't sound like it was that bad to me, but again, he's the one that's inside the car and he hears it more than I do, but it didn't sound like it was an issue, at least at this point in time.
Well, he's 15th.
Yep.
Next, Eric McClure, then Danny O'Quinn and Joey Logano. Speeds coverage of NASCAR Nationwide qualifying brought to you by Husqvarna. Master your great outdoors with Husqvarna, professionally proven outdoor power equipment. To find your nearest dealer, visit Husqvarna.com. By Touch of Gray from Just for Men. And by Night at the Museum, Battle at the Smithsonian, now playing only in theaters. Eric McClure, whose best start of 2009 was 18th, puts the hefty Ford in 16th position right now with a 30.46. Krista.
And down here with our current pole sitter, Carl Edwards. And you and Kyle Busch have such a great battle going on in this series. Is this a place where you feel like you can really gain an upper hand?
These guys have worked really hard on this this Miracle-Gro moisture control Ford Fusion, and it's really fast. And you know, Greg's really fast. And yeah, that battle's we got a gift, you know, at Darlington with him getting a flat tire, and it's going to be entertaining for the fans to watch it. You know, Kyle come from the back. You know, I saw those guys working on that engine. I thought, you know, it's bad for them, but it's good for the points battle. And I just hope we can have a good race tonight. And just hopefully this stays on the pole. We got a great race car, and I want to say thanks to all our troops out there. It's Memorial Day weekend, and we appreciate everyone, past and present, who's, you know, sacrificing to allow us to do this kind of stuff.
Couldn't have said it better. Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Krista. Danny O'Quinn is in the Sundrop Chevrolet, and he is 17th with a 30.37. His best start of the season, 7th at Daytona.
It's been a long time since we've seen a Sundrop car on the racetrack looking like this, quite reminiscent of the one that Dale Earnhardt Sr. ran here in the late 90s in the at then Busch Series. And sometimes big time favorite fan of him as far as he loved his Sundrop. It's good to see him back at the racetrack with the 2006 Rookie of the Year driving that car, Danny O'Quinn.
And here is Joey Logano, who could be this year's Rookie of the Year.
We heard Joey talking about he liked his race car in the first practice, but did not like the changes they made for that second practice yesterday. So wasn't real sure what to expect here, Jeff.
No, I'm sure he's going to kind of tippy-toe in here and see what happens, I would think. But right now, got a pretty decent lap going for a car that's had multiple changes in it. You know, of course, Joey's got one win this year in this series, and been having some really good finishes. Let's see what he can do on that first lap.
And when we talk about him being a rookie, not in this series, but in the Sprint Cup Series.
The Sprint Cup Series, yeah.
He's 4th in the standings here in the Nationwide Series. And as you heard, turns 19 tomorrow. 10th on the first lap.
It's kind of funny to talk about a 19-year-old not being involved with the Rookie of the Year deal, considering guys like Brendan Gaughan and Jason Allgaier and Michael McDowell. I mean, these guys have got a lot of races under their belts, but they're running for the Rookie of the Year here in the Nationwide Series. Slowed down a little bit on that second lap, though.
Logano will make his 29th career start here tonight. Dick?
While most of the team owners were under the bright lights of Speed Street this week, Evander Holyfield, yes, that Evander Holyfield on your left, the professional boxer, and his co-owner of car number 42, Eddie Smith, on your right, and their regular driver, Kenny Hendrick. Gilliland is driving the car here. They were off at a home for homeless kids behind a chain link fence. They spent over 2.5 hours there trying to brighten the day for some kids, and they got the job done. Let's see if I can jump in. Evander, what was it like for you to get in there and see all those kids?
Well, I'm telling you, it was you know, it was good for me to see that somebody out there is really trying to help these unfortunate kids. Because these kids, then, you know, you don't choose your parents, and you don't choose your neighborhood, and sometimes things like that happen. But I guess the quality thing is that somebody do care.
How big of a racing fan have you become?
Well, you know, racing, you know, I like racing because I wouldn't do it. You know, it's just like people wouldn't get in the ring, but, you know, I get in the ring and they do the racing, so, you know, it works out.
I'm going to try to be your friend. You still got a great build.
I don't think I'd want to square off against him.
Thank you.
He's the real deal.
Maybe that's why David Gilliland likes boxing, because he won't do it.
That's right.
Jason Keller in the Kleenex Ford. Now, he spent some time this week at Presbyterian Hemby Children's Hospital and Levine Children's Hospital at Carolina's Medical Center, visiting with kids, handing out goodies from Scott Products and Harris Teeter.
Jason's just a good guy. He's been around a long time, and one of the few guys that's been able to stick it out, you know, for a 10, 12, 15-year career, and he's good on all different kind of racetracks and always does the right thing by the fans and the sponsors.
In fact, one of those kids he visited with designed a postcard to send to servicemen that Keller's going to have on display inside his car in the race tonight.
Well, that's great. It really is.
So it's nationwide tonight, Sprint Cup tomorrow night, and then next Friday on Speed. The NASCAR Camping World Trucks take on the Monster Mile, a track that turns the toughest trucks into piles of twisted metal. That's Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Onto the lights.
Speaking of Dover, comes the number 99 car, which last year was being driven by, at a truck race at Dover, where Scott Speed got his one and only Camping World Truck Series win a year ago. So he's got to be looking forward to going back up there, an opportunity to race the Monster Mile. He beat the Monster first time out.
He got a good lap going here too, Jeff.
Yes, he does.
He had a good 1 and 2. Looks like he slid up the racetrack a little bit in 3 and 4. Lost a little bit of time there.
Like he missed the entrance to that corner just a little bit. Couldn't quite get into the bottom of the racetrack.
Super tight off, guys.
Wouldn't turn.
Scott won the pole at Las Vegas in his first career Nationwide Series start.
11th quickest on that first lap.
He might pick up a little bit. No, it's going the other way.
Took off on him again, Mike.
So 29.98 will be the lap of record for Scott Speed. Michael Annett next up, and then two more go to knockout qualifying.
Again, we're saying we're getting ready to go into Evander Holyfield territory. Knockout qualifying. He knocked a few out in his time.
Tell you what, I'd be afraid to be the guy that went out on the track and knocked his car out of the show. I'd have to face him afterwards.
Wish you hadn't brought that up.
22-year-old Michael Annett with Pilot Travel Centers on his Toyota. This is his first start here in the Nationwide Series. He's 5th in the rookie chase.
You may give him some ideas he had never thought about.
That's good. We need some excitement down there.
But I like the way he looks at racing as a challenge, because it's something that he wouldn't run that car off into the corner 180, 190 miles an hour. So I guess that gives you good appreciation for the folks who do.
Yeah, and I got a chance to talk to him at Texas back here earlier this year, and he really loves the excitement of the crowd. I mean, he really enjoys playing to the crowd. I mean, I think all those times when he entered the boxing ring, he said it just gave him such a boost. Come to the racetrack, he said the speed, the excitement, the energy of the fans, all those things are something he really enjoys being around.
So it's kind of like when you enter the Hollywood Hotel and
into the red carpet treatment, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, Mike.
We have a red carpet.
Oh, you hadn't seen it?
Michael Annett is 17th on his first lap, 30.32. And the second lap's going to fall off just a little bit, but that's a solid run.
It really is. But I think this racetrack, Jeff, is really starting to lose a little bit of grip. That sun's been out for the last 15, 20 minutes. Doesn't sound like a long time, but that's all it takes at this racetrack to change it.
Oh, this is one of the trickiest racetracks that we go to. For some reason, when the sun gets on it, it changes so fast. I mean, if one end of this racetrack is in shade and the other end isn't, woe be unto the driver on the racetrack, because it can do two different things real quick at both ends. Carl, there's signing a few autographs and enjoying the limelight while he sits on top of the pole.
One thing I really like about Carl Edwards is the presence of mind that he has in interviews and things like that, to mention things like, I want to thank all our servicemen. It's such a simple thing to do, but have you heard anybody else do it today?
No.
Exactly.
No. Well, I'll take that back. Now, Kevin Harvick did when he was talking to Dick
That's
Bergman.
correct.
He did bring it up because, you know, he's got VFW on his car, and he remembered. But Carl is a very, you know, intelligent individual, not just driver. He's an intelligent guy. And again, he's very aware of his surroundings. I had the privilege of spending a little time with him, you know, going up to his hometown, flying with him and everything. And I was just very impressed with his awareness about everybody at that flight center and everything around him. He's really good about that.
Agree.
And it's not just when things are going good. When he has, you know, bad things on the racetrack, he seems to be able to, you know, calm himself down and get it all under perspective.
Are you talking about Talladega?
No, we're talking about a hockey town. Here's Brian Keselowski, Brad's brother. It's his first trip to Lowe's, and he's in the Detroit Red Wings, number 26 Dodge. Are they a sponsor, or is he just a fan? I'm not sure.
I think he's just a fan.
That's okay.
You know, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with loving two sports.
Yeah, the Keselowskis from just outside Detroit. And Brian will start right next to his brother, 27th at a 30.78, the way things stand right now.
I hope those two guys don't get into each other and start having a brother squabble for some reason back there.
Well, they won't start alongside because Brad has to go to the back with the backup car.
But he's got to go by his brother to get to the front, though.
Well, that's true. So it's knockout qualifying time.
It's your favorite time, Mike.
That's the real deal, as you
It
say.
is. You like to say the real deal.
Curtis Davis. Curtis has qualified for the last 5 races. This is the Ronald McDonald House in Charlotte Chevrolet.
He was really good in practice.
He was.
Both practices yesterday.
Very solid.
Yeah, top 15 both practices. Let's see if he can bag it up.
Now, that's the one thing about this part of qualifying. Nobody's leaving anything on the table here. You got to just let the rough side drag and go after it. Otherwise, you don't get a chance to race tonight.
'21 cars in knockout qualifying today, and 15 of them will get to race.
We've got a large field here. I mean, really do. 50 cars trying to make this race right now.
Curtis Davis 30.86, and that's toward the low end of the totem pole.
It shows how much people have picked up. That's just about the same kind of time he ran yesterday in practice to be a top 15 car. So that's not going to be good enough today in qualifying. He's going to need to pick it up.
Yeah, he's got to play too, Herm. He has no choice. And it's picking up. Ooh, gave a little of that back.
You can see on the throttle there, Mike, he was on and off the throttle, feathering it coming off the corner.
And that hurt him. From a 30.86, he goes to a 92. And so Curtis Davis is going to have a bit of a wait to see if those big red shoes will make the show. There we go. All right, Jeff, get you some of that.
Don't want none. No, thank you. Going the other way.
Scott Wimmer on track in the number 40, and it looks like he will race tonight in the StopRepairBills.com Chevrolet. First lap, 18th.
Yeah, that should be solid enough right there to get Scott Wimmer in for sure, Mike. I think that everybody looks and says, where do I need to be? I'm thinking right now a 30-50 would make you feel pretty good about racing tonight. I think anything slower than that, you're just going to have to kind of ride it out and see how many people make mistakes and how the racetrack plays out. Whether that sun coming out really has an effect now and messes these guys up, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. A 50, I'd feel pretty good, and a 60, I wouldn't be putting my tools away just yet, but anything below that, I think, is questionable.
And talking about the sun coming out, Jeff, it's not just the actual effect it has on the race car. It's in that driver's head, you know, between those ears. People tell them so much when this racetrack can change a lot when the sun comes out, and you've got to have a good frame of mind to go out there as a driver to be able to put the hammer down. And if you think the grip's not there, you're not going to go as fast.
I'm glad you kind of put that in perspective. I've always said these guys were mental cases.
Morgan Shepherd has been racing here since 1982 in the Racing with Jesus Prelude to the Dream. That's the big dirt track race at Tony Stewart's Eldora Speedway, and you can see it on HBO pay-per-view live June 3rd, Wednesday night, and that's the only place you'll see it this year. So order now and enjoy as all of NASCAR's top stars get together to play in the dirt and have some fun. Morgan, that's a 68.
Right on the edge.
Agreed, Jeff.
He's on the high side of where I wanted to see him.
That's flirting with danger. See if the second lap in this Chevrolet is any quicker. No.
He was able to run a 57, in the practice yesterday, the last practice. It wasn't quite quick enough today, though.
So Morgan's got to hope it's the track that is slowed down and not his car. Commemorate the 25th running of the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race with Speed All-Star apparel. One-of-a-kind t-shirts, hats, a special edition diecast signed by Bobby Allison. Go to shopspeedtv.com, click on All-Star Apparel, and it's all right there. Start your shopping. Dick?
Well, you can tell it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. because there is a huge crowd of fans and photographers that just had to shoo him back. Jr. going to run 2 races this weekend, 2 cars. Which of the 2 is better, the Nationwide car or the Sprint Cup car?
The Sprint Cup car is better. I don't know. This car is pretty good. Klondike Chevrolet has been running good in practice, and we'll just go out and have some fun tonight. And these cars are a blast to drive. They got a lot of downforce. They're really enjoyable, and we've got a great field here today and trying to make this race. And should be a lot of fun tonight.
All right, we wish you well. Good luck. Thank you.
The Harmonator. Mike Harmon just concluded his run in that unsponsored Chevrolet, and he is at a 31-37 in doubt for making tonight's race.
It's not going to be anywhere close to where he needs to be. Mike, you said it, 30, 50, 30, 60 is where he needs to be, and he missed the first practice. Probably hurt him a little bit yesterday.
I want to go back to that interview that Dick did with Dale Earnhardt Jr. That car looked good in practice of what he was able to do, Mike. I watched him. He raced some guys, able to back off a little bit early, get back on the throttle, drive underneath them. He looked like he was able to move that number 5 car all over the racetrack and make it work. Not quite the speed I think he was looking for in that practice, but he should be a threat tonight. Should be a factor when this thing, finally gets around to the end.
Johnny Chapman, who wrecked during qualifying for this race last year, looking to make his 8th start of the season for MSRP Motorsports, another of these unsponsored cars that are looking to take the green flag here tonight. And he is right there, Jeff, 30-50.
Well, he was good in the first practice, slowed down just a little bit in the second, but his car has had some speed in it all day long. I mean, since it unloaded him, he was like practicing in the low 30s. So if he can pick it up maybe a little bit, well, I guess he decided, whoop, not good enough.
I don't know, Hermie. I think he's good with the 50, and Johnny's a good qualifier.
Yeah, he really is. He's really doing a good job of getting this car in the show a lot of times, and I think he's safe with that. I think he'll race.
Go to MRO.com on that car. That's Motor Racing Outreach. Does a great job with kids and families of competitors here at the racetrack. Speed's presentation of Nationwide Series qualifying is brought to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. And the new Kentucky Grilled Chicken. Tastes the unfried side of KFC. Derek Cope, the flippinbags.com. Dodge checks in 27th at a 30.63.
Again, he's closer to where we said the cutoff was going to be, so it's looking better for him.
And out comes the 42, the real deal 42 of David Gilliland. making his first nationwide start since California last Labor Day.
David has been fast in this 42 car since he started driving it earlier this weekend, and if he can just put down a nice smooth lap, which he did, he's going to be good enough for 7th quickest. Where's the crew chief at? Wow.
Well, the car's faster. I don't know about the crew chief. Nah.
Telling you right now, guys, it's rolling the dice you don't need to roll. You're in the race.
NexusNews.org, Smith Ironworks Dodge.
Somebody must have told somebody something because he got off the gas, but a little bit later, and I'd like to see him do it.
That's a great lap.
It is.
Could have been freer, man.
We're not.
I made you tighten it up there.
No, that's all right.
All right, better safe than sorry.
We're not into bumping yet, but certainly Gilliland will race tonight. Dick?
Sure will.
Well, a lot has been said about NASCAR drug testing in the last week or so, but this is a bit unusual. After qualifying, each car in the Nationwide Series is being required to provide a fuel sample, which NASCAR is going to go off and test. The gas, what it's supposed to be? We're about to find out.
Well, it's supposed to be 98 octane Sunoco GT260 unleaded.
This provided at the track.
Yes.
Yeah, at the track. Very important.
GTX, that is 260.
And they do this once in a while, Mike. They come in, kind of throw you a curveball just to make sure nobody's
keep you honest.
No crew chief is trying to maybe bend the rules a little bit.
Wouldn't know nothing about that.
Why are you looking the other way when I'm talking to you?
Because I can't look you in the eye when you're talking about it.
And what they're looking for mainly are oxygenants and the additives to the fuel that would provide more oxygen in the fuel than air flowing in through the carburetor. Other odd chemicals that might give that car more performance. Some things you don't mess with around here are fuel, tires, and engine displacement.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, make the most out of this lap.
All right, John West Townley's got to get this 09 in the show. 30.83 the first lap. He had a crash in practice right off the truck. And this is the backup car, but they did get practice laps with it.
Yes, they did.
Know what it's going to do down here now. Hit your mark.
A little bit of coaching right there, trying to get him an understanding that car went quite right the first time through here. Adjust a little bit. We see tire rub, a little bit of steam coming out the overflow.
But he's got to go.
He's got to go.
Kill it at the line.
Don't think that first lap's going to do it. The second one is quicker. 30.76, and it will lock in David Gilliland. But John West Townley right now is 32nd out of 36.
Gonna be close.
Yep. He's going to need some help, guys. He's going to need some help.
Yeah. Zaxby's Ford going to have a long wait here.
And you know what's so sad about that, just to put it in perspective, is his primary car was quick enough to get him in the race.
Yes.
And it's a shame sometimes you go to a backup car and you try to be careful, you slow down safety up a little too much, and it may cost him this time.
Kevin LePage from Shelburne, Vermont. Back in the late 90s, he had a second place start here and a second place finish. 248 career starts in the series. He's also a veteran of what's now the Sprint Cup Series. He's trying to get this number 52 Ford into the show. It was a little loosey-goosey down between 1 and 2 there.
He held on to it too, and Kevin's a good qualifier.
Yes.
Through the years. He's got really made a name for himself of being able to get cars in the show, Jeff.
Yeah, he's driving for the veteran Jimmy Means, and Jimmy's been around a long time, and he's using a lot of racetrack right there trying to get that 52 through the corner now. He can just keep his foot into it back to the start-finish line. Maybe gave up too much, I think, guys.
Yep, it fell off to 34th at a 30.80 for LePage. Let's see if there's more here on this second lap.
See if he can adjust. Makes a good run through 1 and 2 that time. Picks up a little bit of speed, but gives it back on the exit.
As Darrell said, the laws of physics.
Yeah.
You can gain it going in. You're apt to give it up coming out.
Carter's like it doesn't have the grip he needs. He's just sliding up the racetrack a little bit too much, scrubbing that speed off.
And the second lap will be slower for LePage. That is good news for Scott Wimmer. It locks Wimmer into the race.
Guys, I hate to say it, but down there toward the back of the pack, it's going to be a log jam and wind up finding out who's going to wind up racing here tonight and who's not.
Now, we had 51 cars that entered and practiced. We don't believe that Brandon Knupp in the Bob Shack car is going to make a qualifying attempt. So that'll leave us with 50 drivers to qualify for 43 spots. As we mentioned, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a past champion, so he has that provisional available. Don't think he'll need it.
Don't think so. Again, this car's been quick enough, during practice sessions to get it done. And again, you can hear the people right now. He is a fan favorite, no matter whether it's in a Nationwide Series or whether it's a Sprint Cup Series. They love him.
He's going to make his 5th start of the year tonight. 22 career wins, 9 poles, and 2 championships, 1998 and 9.
It's no secret he's been struggling a little bit with his Sprint Cup operation, and also on this side just a little bit. And NAS, when he really needs his fans, to be supportive more so than normally. I mean, they love him either way, but he really needs a fan support right now more than any time in the past.
I think he's got it. No matter what goes on, it seems like they're always there for him. And right now, that puts him 12th quickest at that first lap. I don't think he'll run another one, guys.
Dale Jr. locks himself into the show. 12th place for Junior. There's a good example of wrecked, but not the kind that O'Hare Towing risks life and limb in treacherous winter conditions to haul Thursday night at 10 Eastern. Back-to-back episodes of Wrecked, Life in the Crash Lane. Casey Atwood trying to make his 9th race of 2009, and he's on the I'm not too sure list. 30.68 is the lap of record for the 31W Insulation Ford. And right now, the bottom 7, as that locks Johnny Chapman into the race, the bottom 7 are Cope, Shepard, Atwood, Townley, LePage, Davis, and Harmon.
Shepard and Atwood, they actually tied 31st and 32nd as far as their times are concerned.
Difference in the thousandths.
Thousandths of a second?
5 thousandths.
5 thousandths of a second.
All.
Okay.
So here's Mark Green.
Your scoring monitor is better than mine.
It's okay. Mark trying to make his 6th start of the year. He started 14th at Richmond in the Lowry Plumbing Chevrolet.
Tell you right now, Mark has got a whale of a lap going right now coming off of turn 2. If he can get it back down through 3 and 4 as good as he did through 1 and 2, he's going to have a whale of a lap. He'll be up in the top 15 for sure.
Wow.
He gave back a little bit, but she's still holding strong around 16th.
That is a super lap for Mark Green. He is 16th.
And Mark, good lap. You're in. Good lap.
Solidly in the show.
Crew chief telling him to back it down. You're in the show. Good run from Mark Green.
Yes, it was.
You like it when they don't just barely get in. You like it when they really go in in
like
style.
we said, this is the time you just can't kind of, sneak your way or kind of take your time, tippy-toe down these corners. You've got to get up on the wheel and make it happen. And Mark Green did that, and so did David Gilliland and Wimmer and Dale Earnhardt Jr. I mean, it's great to see these guys, see if they can make it happen. And here's a guy that's been going, incredible fast speeds up in Indianapolis. Stanton Barrett didn't make the Indy 500, but when I watched him on Sunday afternoon a week ago, 218 miles an hour wasn't good enough to get him in the show there. But talked to Paul Andrews, his crew chief. He said, man, he showed up down here. He said he was ready to get the job done. And guys, look at that tracker through 1 and 2. Again, another top 10 qualifying attempt. Looked like Stanton Barrett's going to be pretty quick.
The Thirstbuster Chevrolet looking for a top 10 start here. And boy, the track has picked up, and so have some of these go or go home qualifiers.
Car looks good too.
It does.
To get it
solid.
turned, get back to the throttle.
Like I said, Paul Andrews and Stanton Barrett have done an outstanding job.
You're in.
You're in right quick, yeah.
29.86.
Say so, 11th quickest.
Second of the go or go homers. Barrett locks himself in, and now bumping will begin.
I mean, that's just 4/10 off of what?
And that's awesome. Awesome. That's P11 right there. And that is the second star car. Awesome.
There you go. But it just 4/10 off of what Carl Edwards ran for the pole. Good job by Stanton Barrett. I mean, that's got to be tough to come out of Indy, not make the Indy 500. And he was planning on doing the double all along.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he really, I think, came down here in that 31 group. Paul Andrews, all of them, Stanton Barrett, they kind of redeemed themselves making this race. And not just making it, but making it convincingly.
All right, bumping begins. Mike Harmon is the bubble car. And to lock in, you have to be better than 31st place Derek Cope right now. So here's 18-year-old Mark Davis in the Word Network Toyota.
A little bit of a wiggle there, Mike, getting into turn 3 to come get the green flag. We'll see if he can put that out of his mind when he goes back, but not very good getting to the line.
Yeah, you see the green line on the tracker. That is Derek Cope. If you're to the left of that green line, you lock yourself in. If not, you'll have to wait and see. And if you're past 40th, after 40th, you're going home because somebody will get bumped on this run. Will it be Mark Davis or Mike Harmon?
Car hasn't really showed the speed in practice sessions that it's needed to get into this race, and right now on this first lap it still doesn't, but it's good enough right there.
It'll send Mike Harmon to the house.
Exactly.
Yep. So 40th, that is where Davis's first lap is. He really needs to improve on that if he hopes to race tonight.
Not hearing a lot out of anybody on the radio letting him know that he needs to pick it up. I think the only thing he's going to wind up doing is putting himself on the bubble.
And that's just what happens, Jeff. Derek Cope locks into the race. Mark Davis is now on the bubble. Dick Berggren with Stanton Barrett, who's 11th fastest.
And nobody tries harder to get into these races and run well in these races than Stanton Barrett. Hollywood stuntman, jumps out of burning buildings, falls off motorcycles, lets people beat him up for the movies, all to get enough money to do this. Didn't make it to the Indy 500, but you're going to make it tonight. How big a deal is this for you?
It's always great. Thank goodness for Circle K, Thirstbuster, Rick Ware, and having 40, 50 more horsepower than I did last year. I got Paul Andrews, just been phenomenal to work with all year, and Dave Foods Jr., just a real testament what a very, very small team with very, very limited resources can do. I'm just happy to be back with a great group here, and I love Charlotte, so hopefully we're going to have, I think our car's really, really strong. I left a little bit out on the table there. We can't afford any mistakes, and I'm just real excited. It's fun to be back with all my friends, and really happy about this car and what they do.
Job well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great run. Here is Terry Cook, who has made all of his 8 qualifying attempts since Daytona. Also racing for MSRP Motorsports. Motor Racing Outreach there on the taillight panel.
He's
Cajun
locked in.
USA. He's in.
Yep, 17th quickest for Cook.
That will send Mark Davis to the house and puts Curtis Davis on the bubble. This is Jeremy Clements, the Saxon Group Chevrolet, and he's put himself in the show with a 30-34.
Big pickup. I mean, 31.07 was his best lap in the second practice yesterday, so he stood up on the wheel and got that car in the show.
That sends Curtis Davis home.
I'm glad you helped me out that with Herman, because my eyes are so bad at 32. I was looking at it, looked like a 30.
4 cars to go. The bottom 4 are Morgan Shepherd, Casey Atwood, John West Townley, and Kevin LePage. This is J.C. Stout trying to make his 6th Nationwide Series start. Had a little tire rub first time he went into one.
He missed the entire first practice too, Mike, and got limited time on the track his second practice. Fastest lap was a 31.73, so he's looking for a little over a second pickup here.
Looks like he's going to get it.
I know in that second practice, that car was bottoming out really big time. I mean, even during the top of the day, you could see it just hitting the racetrack. But right now, they've got it fixed, and he got a good lap in that time. 29th quickest for J.C. Stout, 30.45.
That's a good job right there. Big pickup.
Big pickup, and where's the crew chief?
So he will race tonight. Kevin LePage and Jimmy Means Ford will not.
He's going to play too, yeah.
To no avail. That's all right. The first lap was more than good enough. 29th fastest. So now our bottom 3 are Morgan Shepherd, Casey Atwood, and John West Townley. 3 cars to go. This will be Dennis Setzer in the Dusty's Collision Dodge.
Yeah, he's nearby Newton, North Carolina. Used to race at Hickory an awful lot. That's where he kind of grew at fame. In recent years, has been in the Camping World Truck Series that Dennis has been tearing it up.
First of his 104 series starts came here in 1991. Qualified 5th.
He ran a 30.50 in his first practice yesterday, so they know the car has the speed if Dennis can get it out of it on the lap that counts.
Well, he needs to be in the low 60s to be safe, and he's just to the left of that green line, which represents Morgan Shepherd.
Yeah, if he can wind up running about a 30.63 or 64 somewhere in that neighborhood right there, he would definitely lock himself in. But it looks to me like he's going to do a little bit better than that, Mike. Good run off a turn, good strong run off a turn 4.
Yeah, he's in the 50s. Setzer, no, 30.47, 31st fastest, and Dennis Setzer will race tonight. That means that John West Townley will not. Zaxby's car goes home. Setzer is in.
Again, for the life of me, I'm just a little bit surprised that these crew chiefs are not letting these guys know you don't need to be hustling it any more than what you've already done. First lap was good enough.
Second lap about 9/100 slower. So now we're down to 2, and our bottom 2 both ran laps of 30.68. Morgan Shepherd and Casey Atwood. Left to qualify are Paul Menard, who was very fast in practice, and Peyton Sellers.
Yeah, I mean, if the sun hadn't come out, I would guess Paul Menard in this Yates racing car would have a chance to sit on the pole, but he has certainly had the speed to get it there and get him a top 10 qualifying position anyway.
Menard started 3rd at Texas and Phoenix. Richmond tankless water heaters on the hood of his Ford.
Okay, you're Doug Yates and that group over at Yates Racing, and you're going to tell him to go sit on the pole or get this car in the race?
I think Paul's got enough experience, he can fill it out. I mean, he'll go down to turns 3 and 4 to come get the white flag, and you know as a driver if your car has got that feel or not. I mean, and they'll let him do whatever he's capable of doing, but he already looked like he's dropped back right around 15th, so doesn't have quite the speed he had yesterday.
Well, the car looks nervous to me getting down into both corners so far. Ningle Whittle's right in the middle of 3 and 4. It just doesn't look like it's in the racetrack like it was earlier.
He's going to get a solid lap. No, I don't think so. 30.17, close enough.
Well, you had to take a drive of that, Mike. It sounds better. Pump him up a little bit.
Well, that's one of those crew chief watches, Hermie.
I'm still waiting on that same crew chief.
Every time we talk about a crew chief, Jeff turns around and looks the other way. He don't want to have that conversation.
He's looking for Larry.
Yeah.
Menard at a 17 is in the show, solidly 19th. That will send Casey Atwood home. Second lap, same as the first.
It really shows you what a good lap Stanton Barrett had just a couple cars ago, Jeff, to get that car in the show. Good run by Stanton Barrett and a solid run by Paul Menard.
Final qualifier.
I was chasing the back end on exit, and it was like just kind of bogging it down.
Peyton Sellers out of Virginia, attempting to make his 5th career nationwide start. He was the 2005 NASCAR Weekly Racing Series champion, and now is trying to gain a foothold in the Nationwide Series. This is the SFP Chevrolet for Sellers, and he has to beat a 30.68, 30682, if he's going to knock Morgan Shepherd out of the field. Looking good so far.
Yeah, that 25-year-old. And this team right now, this Cardinal race team, is based out of Welcome, North Carolina. I think everybody knows and heard about Richard Childers Racing, who is also out of Welcome, North Carolina.
This is a great lap right here for Sellers.
Yes, it is.
Well better than what he practiced. He's going to be right on 30 flat. 30.05 for Sellers. He is 16th, and that's where he will start, as he is the final car to qualify, and he bumps Morgan Shepherd. So the bump time, Jeff, boy, you were right on it. 30.63 is the slowest car to make the field.
And Mike, like you
of
said,
the go or go homers.
A 30.50 would make you feel good. Anything slower than that, you sweat a little bit. Derek Cope had to sweat a little bit,
but he made it. Hey, now we're talking. Nice. Is that a 66 SS 396?
I believe you're right, Mike.
I like
Again,
that one.
You know more about it than I do, but I know it's Saturday night, time to go cruising, even inside the Lowe's Motor Speedway.
That's right. Nice car. Carl Edwards has miracle grown his way to the pole. 4th pole of the season for cousin Carl. Kyle Busch qualifies second, won't get to start there.
Lost an engine in practice.
So he will go to the back, but they are battling for the championship. Carl will start from the pole for the 4th time this year. It's his 15th pole in 152 starts and his second one here. Krista?
That's right, Mike. Carl Edwards, you said you got a gift in Darlington with Kyle's finish. You earned this pole, and now you're up front. Kyle's coming from the back. What a great showdown.
Yeah, it's going to be a great race. I just got to thank my guys. They've been working really hard. We haven't had the stellar performances that we finished last season with, but the guys have just been working so hard, and they got this car running really fast. And Scott's and Miracle Grove, they've done a lot to on the outside of this racetrack, with all the grounds and making everything real beautiful. And hopefully we can do a lot inside the racetrack tonight. I'd love to get the first win of the season here, and I think we've got a car strong enough to do it.
And let's steer it to the big race, the marathon, 600 miles. Are you going to learn something tonight for that Coca-Cola 600?
Yeah, I think we'll learn how the track's going to change throughout the night. It looks like we may get a couple sprinkles, and we'll see what that does to the surface. That looks like it might be a threat, the next 2 days. So we'll learn a lot. I mean, these 300 miles here could pay off big, for the 600 miler tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Carl. Congratulations.
Weekly Series champion Peyton Sellers delighted to be in the show, but for more than just a chance to race. What's going on in your family?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big day for us just to make it in, but thoughts and prayers really been with my mom this week. She had some surgery there on Thursday and had us really worried there for a while, but everything come out well. She's doing good, and her and Dad are sitting at home tonight watching, back at the hospital tonight watching qualifying and watching the race. So, this one's for you, Mom, no doubt about it. And, hey, the SFP car run good in qualifying. We were a little bit on the fence there in practice on Thursday, and made some pretty big changes. HC and the guys worked really hard and got the old orange and green car in the field, so I'm pretty happy about that.
And it has always been a family affair for the Sellers. Mike?
Absolutely. Bergie, I like that. We always talk to the superstars of the sport. Nice to talk to the fellows that have to work hard to get the car in the show as well. Thanks.
He's a Virginia boy, too. Good to see him.
I could tell. I could tell.
Me and him understand each other.
We would one of those situations where it would not be a failure to communicate between you two.
That's right.
Way to go, Stanton Barrett, right there on row 6. But look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Watch out for Scott Speed, man. He's laying there. He may have something for him tonight.
And look at Paul Menard, had a fast race car going out 20th. Watch for him to make his way to the front.
Yep.
You will see the Nationwide Series race, the Carquest Auto Parts 300 tonight on ESPN2. I believe they come on the air about 7:30 tonight. A little later on, right here on Speed, you're going to see the final round of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series practice for the Coca-Cola 600.
That could prove to be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the more competitive fields we've had this year, Jeff, in the Nationwide Series. I mean, a good field of cars and a lot of strong cars from front to back.
And we had over 50 cars show up here, and these are the guys who failed to qualify, Mike.
Yep, there are always some who are disappointed. And those 7, plus the shacked car that did not take time, end up going to the house. For everybody else, it's a quick turnaround for this evening's race. Coming up next, NASCAR Performance.
Hey, that's Larry Mack's program, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And a little later on, you will see NASCAR Sprint Cup Series practice live at about 6 p.m. So keep it right here on Speed. Congratulations to Carl Edwards. 7th straight Lowe's Motor Speedway Nationwide Series race with a Roush Ford on the front row.